how does that actor who I'm watching on screen, why am I sitting there wondering about my life when I see her performing?
It took me ages to realize that Sala, I'm completely off.
Yes.
But at the FTII, it gives you an insight into films made all over the world.
Yes.
Suddenly, windows open.
Absolutely. Polish films, German films, French films.
And what performances.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. When I used to watch them, I would wonder, how is she doing this?
And you don't shy away from it.
Not at all. Like I just said, I get into the van and it starts over there.
Wonderful.
I tell myself, kya kar raha yaar? Ye kuch aur ho sakta tha. What did you do just
Do you overdo it also? Because that is another risk. Sorry. Go on.
I was watching a film. I think it was a Polish film. The film got over. Nobody moved. Just nobody moved. Aur siskiyan sunai de rahi thi. He was just sitting and weeping away quietly. And that's the time I wondered, what the hell is this power that cinema has?
But I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We've had two already, one with Gitanjali Kulkarni and one with Amrita Subhash, both of whom are girls I have known for quite a long time, worked with also, and have watched their work quite closely. But Neeraj is a little, kya kehte hain, unknown quantity. So now it's going to become interesting. Neeraj.
Yes, Ratna.
We almost worked together and we date for a little while.
Yeah.
And we've watched each other, I'm sure, but never ever had a conversation about acting. Something that means so much to both of us.
Yes.
But I'm going to plunge straight away. And you say, and you have been, as one knows, that you are a self-trained actor. Now that is something that is somewhat unusual in this day and age, though once upon a time almost everyone was a self-trained actor, unless you were part of a Natak Mandali, right? So, ये जो है process of looking for your own way into discovering what is acting, how to go about it. What was that like? I would like to start there. And before you go into it, मैं 2-3 सवाल एक साथ पूछती हूँ तो सब साथ में जवाब देना आप. And while you were doing this kind of hunting around, looking for people who can feed into your search, how difficult is that? People to find, and how rewarding it is also. So these are the two, that could be a starting point anyway.
So I think it began because I wanted to go to the NSD when I was in college. I did a small play there and we got the play to the Mood Indigo in Mumbai. So it's a national competition, all colleges come from everywhere. And God knows how I got the Best Actors Award over there. And then on, something struck that I want to do this, not because of what happened, but I felt it was intriguing for me to go through the process of doing a play that we took to the Mood Indigo. And that play was directed by somebody from the FTII. I was studying in Pune at the Symbiosis College. FTII was a stone's throw distance. So we got one of the senior students to come and direct this play. That process of work intrigued me a lot because he got himself, he got NSD actors who were coming and studying at the FTI. So every day our...
What time period are you talking about? In the 90s sometime?
89.
Right, okay, yeah. That's when the NSD used to have a tie-up with FTI.
1989. So he got a lot of people over there. And every day was a new rehearsal process. That's what struck, because before that I never thought of acting or anything in that career at all. I wanted to go into management and do my course as usual. And go abroad and do business and whatever. But this intrigued me a lot. And the process was very interesting. Secondly, when I went to the FTI over there, I saw the National Archives over there. One saw books on acting. Then they have a 6:30 show at the FTI, the film show. So I would go there, I would actually gate crash and go and see these films, international films. All these were, I guess, the beginnings of what was to come for me. And then I applied for the NSD. And that
just before you go any further, this is a point I would like to make very clearly. For a lot of us, this is the process we all went through. We found material. There was no internet. You couldn't download a movie, no torrent, no nothing, right? So we had to go looking for the material that we had read about,
Yes.
heard about, plays, films, etc. And that process of hunting was very important and has sustained us greatly and
Yes.
has given us a sense of where we come from and where we are
Absolutely,
going.
yes.
Sorry, go on.
So then that happened.
I
and
do
that,
a bit of this, huh?
Ah,
Asides.
absolutely, yes. And I'll follow suit soon.
Please, please. हाँ, बिल्कुल.
So, and that year, I guess, I think it was 91 or something, I sent you have a
Yeah,
form that you fill up,
mm-hmm.
whatever. So I sent a form, it was for 15 rupees. They returned it back saying it's 20 rupees from this year on. So I lost my admission then. Then I applied at the FTI, again, for a direction course. I gave my examinations, I wasn't selected. And there was somebody sitting right behind me who cheated from what I did, and she got selected. So
I wonder what she made of her life.
So post that, I guess because I was so keen to take this as my lifetime journey or whatever, I began to search as to how now I would go ahead with what I want to do, because there's no
Yes.
FTI, there's no NSD. Now what do I do?
Correct.
That's
Because
where,
now that you don't have a fixed format to work with, then where do you begin?
Yes.
Who do you look
Yes.
for? So who did you look for? Tell us in more
So what
specific
happened,
detail.
fortunately, there was somebody I knew from the NSD.
Huh.
And I asked him, do you have a syllabus or could you give me any sense of what is taught over there in the first year, second year, third year? So I sat with him one day. He told me a few things. In fact, I think he gave me a copy of the syllabus as well. I read all that. And I said, okay, my journey begins now. I ticked the first thing over there was dance or something like that. Kathak. So I ticked that. Then I read about voice. I ticked that. I ticked a lot of things. And I went in search in Pune for teachers who would teach me these things. So right from dance to everything. So I met my first teacher. He wanted to charge me a fee or whatever. I couldn't pay. So I said, I'll do this for you. Teach me instead. Very kind gentleman. He taught me once a week. But that's how it began.
Yeah.
Ticking things over there and finding who would and where would I find these things.
Yes, and without having to pay, finding ways of bartering, finding ways of
absolutely like
you know.
that. Absolutely like that.
Yes.
And I don't know how I got these kind souls. Just said, okay, आप ये करो तो मैं आपको ये सिखा दूंगा. And that too not very seriously. It was just by the way. At times I was told to just sit and watch. So I would just sit and watch. And that was my learning at that time because there was no fee to be paid. So he said, okay, you come sit, you watch, see how this is done, you go back home, figure it out. But I would write notes. That I remember doing very, very seriously every single day. And that began to create a process for myself. Saying that, okay, I am liking this process now. And then watching films at the FTI again. Because I would gate crash and go, like I said. After a point of time, even people sitting at the entrance, the guards over there, they gave up. I said, okay, isko jaane do. I used to go there every day. And while watching all these things...
anti-national नहीं है. उस ज़माने में anti-national भी नहीं था.
So, andhere mein, in the dark, when I would watch films, I remember picking up anything that was fallen at the FTI, maybe a cigarette packet or whatever. I would pick it up, take a pen, and in the dark, I would write notes like that, looking at everything happening on film. And I would keep these notes to myself. They were written here and there, everywhere. Sometimes I didn't even realize while writing, I was writing on my pants. So I would not watch that because then I would take it and I would write my own notes. Then I would watch that. So that became a syllabus for me. It became entire course material for me. Which
Was there much confusion? Because I'll tell you, at the NSD, we also got this little buffet table of all kinds of little courses. You know, ye bhi thoda sa kar lo, wo bhi thoda sa kar lo. And that ended up confusing me very much.
Yes.
And when I came back after that, it took me a long time to get out of one kind of way of thinking and finding that I didn't know what I was doing finally.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Scary.
Yeah. And then you start seeing things.
But tell me, that confusion, did that strike you also?
So there were points where I would learn something and then I would go and watch a film and then I would wonder, how is that being done? Because what I've learned till now, I can't apply that to do what he's doing over there. Great actors, great performers. You suddenly see them and you wonder, how is he doing this? What the hell is he doing?
Would you say that you saw a lot of films that were sort of different from what you would have seen otherwise? For example, all of us see mainly Hollywood, Bollywood films.
Yes.
But at the FTI, it gives you an insight into films made all over the world.
Yes.
Suddenly, windows open.
Absolutely. Polish films, German films, French films.
And what performances.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. When I used to watch them, I would wonder, how is she doing this? How is she getting this? Where is she getting the body from? Where is she getting the voice from? How does she take that scene? How is she keeping her character alive for so long? What are these nuances she's doing? Why am I connecting at this scene with her so much? How does that actor who I'm watching on screen, why am I sitting there wondering about my life when I see her performing? What is this? What is this distance and yet the connection that happens? That's where it became very interesting for me to figure out, no, there must be a craft to this, because I don't think everybody can do that. And then I would go back and watch, of course, mainstream Hindi cinema also and mainstream American cinema as well. So you figured out that, okay, this is one part of working and that's another part of working.
Yes.
Where something happens. I have sat in the FTI once. I was watching a film. I think it was a Polish film. The film got over. Nobody moved. Just nobody moved. और सिसकियां सुनाई दे रही थी. I could hear people very, very, quietly, yes. And they were just sitting and weeping away quietly. Nobody moved. And that's the time I wondered, what the hell is this power that cinema has and performance has to throw at you? And they were crying and laughing. I mean, being in that state, not because of the film alone or the story alone, even the way it was being performed by the two actors over there.
Yeah.
That's what hit them.
Yeah.
And we would just sit
that's what's
quietly.
so interesting, because there are so many different ways to find your own way of acting. And you have to develop your own way of acting.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
आप चाहे 50 school कर लें, 50 workshop कर लें, finally you have to find a way.
Yes.
And that's obviously what took a long time for you, that search.
Because then I had to read, because people said that you need to read as well. You just can't, create your own things and just watch films or look at theatre. I used to go and watch a lot of theatre as well in Pune. Then I realized, okay, now reading has to be done. So I would go, I came to Bombay at that time, I remember. And we had the fountain. That's where all the books are sold, the second-hand books.
Yeah, on the road.
Jitne bhi second-hand books the wahan par, I used to pick them out. They were for 2 rupees and 5 rupees at that time.
Yeah.
Okay? And there were paintings by the great artists. So one would pick up paintings, lots of paintings, pick up these small books from here and there. And then there were cassettes, which were available for 25 paise and 50 paise each. So we would take these cassettes. There was Beethoven. There were all these great musicians. So I would
there was
bring them.
T-series.
Yeah, and there was T-series. And
The
listen to all of
world.
them. Yeah.
All this training of one's mind, training of one's taste as an actor, discernment, ये सब तो देख के सुन के हो सकता है. But what about practical things? What about training of breath? उसका क्या करेंगे?
So I began doing, luckily, like I said again in Pune, there was an institute over there. It was for Kathak dance. And they would invite people from the NSD also at times to take workshops. I began going for those workshops. Those were just 2-day workshops, 4-day workshops, whatever. And then there was the French Institute over there. They would invite people from there again. These workshops were there. I would attend a day or two of them. And whatever I could pick up from what they spoke about, voice or breath or whatever, that's the time one picked up these things and made my own notes.
Again, you were not formally trained by anyone. You didn't even get a chance to work with a person on your own voice for any length of time.
No, not at all.
Oh, interesting.
So this would be the practice, and I would go back home and whatever little literature I had with me, I would put that into practice and figure out how this is being done. So it was, मैं कैसे कहूँगा, I don't think you can call it nasha, but it became a part of one's living after that you cannot do anything but this.
Yes.
Whatever you heard, whatever you did. For example, if I saw a dog in a particular way and a dog barking, in those years, I would just sit like the dog and begin to bark and figure out what is this voice now? Where does voice come from? Where does it happen? Then I would notice everything and start to imitate everything that I was doing. Instead of just observing, I did not enjoy the process of observing so much. I enjoyed the process of being. So when I would look at a chair, let's say placed, I would become that chair and sit like that chair and figure out what happens to the entire system when the physicality
So the
becomes
experience of doing something was primary rather than the understanding.
Yes.
The understanding probably followed.
Yes, it followed, and not so much of the observation as well. People would tell me that you must learn how to observe. Look at how that person's doing. I did that in the beginning, but somewhere I lost on understanding or sensing what that person is doing. I only saw his actions. I did not get his mind. I didn't get his breath. I didn't get anything.
Very interesting, because this is exactly my problem. In NSD, we were told observation.
Observe.
But I realized, and of course, we went around observing things, going to the zoo and observing an animal. So they used to trot us out, there's a Kisan rally happening. Go see how
Go see
Kisans,
Kisan.
sit. And so everyone went back and saw Kisan sitting and scratching. I mean, the most stupid, stereotypical rubbish we picked up. But the important thing that I noticed at that time for myself was that an actor observes in a very different way and must. We are not observing the external. We are supposed to observe what is happening inside.
Yes.
That makes somebody behave this way.
Yeah.
है ना?
Yeah.
That's what feeds us.
Yes.
And did you find a way to discover that and train it?
So there was a Pani Puri wala in Pune. And I remember in those days, because I saw him doing that, and I was told that you must observe. So I went and observed. So I felt exactly what you said right now. And I remember one evening, I went to him, I sat with him. And fortunately, I didn't know Marathi at that time. So I began to speak with him. He came from Bihar. That's the place I came from. I come from, in a sense. So I introduced myself. He introduced himself. And then began speaking about what life is in Bihar. And where does he come from, why he landed up in Pune, etc. He became a friend. And every evening I would have this little pani puri with him. And he would give me extra because we were friends for the same price that others would pay for something else. And he began telling his story to me. A lot of beautiful things happened. And when people would come to him and when we would finish what he was doing, there was a sense that he had, which I wanted to know, that when you finish your work at night, you've come from another state altogether. Why are you here? Your wife is there. You have 2 children. What do you do? What do you feel right now? What is it that makes you pack up your stock over here?
And what do you go back home to?
Yes, exactly. That's what was intriguing for me.
Yeah.
And then I saw the monotony of an action happening every day.
Yes.
So this was monotonous, yet there was a mindset happening. There was a vision he had. There were aspirations he had. There were so many things to that one character. And you realized action itself is not enough. There is something happening with entire...
And yet, action is where we reveal ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
So this guy, while making his pani puri, the fluency with which you are talking about कि पानी पूरी किस तरह से खिलाते हैं, आप कोई भी पानी पूरी वाले के पास जाए तो उसका एक सिस्टम होता है, है ना? And that system is part of your physical
bloodstream
self.
actually, yeah.
So it's the body,
yeah,
and the mind and the breath,
yes,
everything working together.
Yes.
So you have said also that the body is your way into a part.
Yes.
A lot of the times.
Yes.
That is an interesting way, and a lot of actors use that system. You know, go from the outside inward. Other actors use a different system, which is to look for what is inside the character and then find a physicality for that character.
Yes.
Depends on where you come from and what works for you. But for you, the physicality obviously came first in many cases. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
And can you use an example, maybe Maitreya from Ship of Theseus? Sorry.
So before Ship of Theseus, when I began doing theatre in Mumbai, when I came to Mumbai, that's time I began doing theatre with many people. One of them was Atul Kumar. So Atul Kumar was, I found him interesting because he worked on the physical body a lot. He was trained in France. He came back over here, and in England, I believe. And he came back here to do a lot of physical work. When I saw that kind of work, we did theatre together. So he invited me as an actor. He was directing plays. And that's the time I would see his physicality when we were not rehearsing. So he would get into these clown actions, etc. when I saw him doing that. And I was very good with the body in the sense that I would train a lot. There was yoga, there was classical forms and everything I would do, martial arts. Because of which my body was more alert than my mind. So I would think from my body, I would feel from my body first. And that's how it would enter my mind now. Now this is what it is going to be. So it was physical man all through. When I saw that whenever we would discuss a character, my first instinct was to physically create that first for him. For example, if there was something happening, I would say, can I physically do this and show it to you first? So he would say, okay, do it, because he liked physicality. And he would sit down. And that's the time I would try everything on the floor, on the walls, everywhere, giving the character a physical frame first, not a characteristic frame, just a physical frame of that character. So if the character felt that he was in love, I would physically perform that. I would not do it through my face or my eyes or my nothing.
Or through the language that the text of the...
Or the text, yeah. So it was first physical. If he was angry, then it was shown physically extending this entire space. It was not sitting and showing anger. It was jumping, running, taking a somersault, climbing up the wall, jumping back again, etc. So there would be, let's say,
Would there be a context for that kind of behavior, for this kind of exploration? For example, I'm working on Hamlet. Now I'm playing Gertrude.
Gertrude.
So how am I looking at it from the perspective of Gertrude, or am I just using anger in general?
No. So just before that, when I was doing this, we did another play, not with Atul, somebody else. It was Oscar Wilde's Salome, I think, Oscar Wilde. And I played the king over there. So on the first day of the rehearsals, when everybody was sitting with the script and text and everything, I was this madman in a corner. I was lying down on the table where the king would sit and do all his work. I would lie down over there and physically start to create the sense of the madness of this king on my own. Of course, my director didn't like it. He asked me to step out from there and said, please join us, take the script and let's read. So this madness began over there, the physicality of it. And I began to find what this is. That because the king was that, the character was such, that he would suddenly lose his memory, he would suddenly behave in a very particular way. And that was a madness I was physically finding out. Now, if you connect that with, again, Gertrude, and even the madness of Hamlet, then that, when I directed Hamlet myself, my actors went through this similar process, because that's what we shared, to say that try the physical first, to find out if you can create first and sense what this character would be.
So would the madness that Hamlet experiences be somewhat different from the madness, should be, I am sure, different from the madness that the king experiences in Salome?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
And so therefore, you are using where the context of the play as a springboard, at least.
Yes.
Correct?
The context of the play is very important.
Yes.
But I first begin with only the character. I pull out the character from the play, and I only take this and I figure out everything. Then I put it back into the context of the play. For example, for the king, when I was there in the space, I would try the table, I would try moving around everywhere, I would roll on the ground, sit over there, and with the physical body, create multiple things to be able to expand what I was trying to feel and sense and say. I knew my text, but I didn't say them. Everything was physically done, as if I was...
So you were using that gateway into the portal, into your
And then when I would sit down with the text and with the scene and everything, then things started falling in place very gradually.
So you were carrying all that experience with you and bringing that to the process of rehearsal. So this is for rehearsal, this is for yourself.
Yes,
correct?
Not to be
it's
performed.
It's not for display for anyone else.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely,
this is, so that is what another thing I think an actor must understand. That everything we do is not meant for performance.
No.
Things are for us.
For us, yes.
First we have to feed ourselves. Then we are capable of showing others. No? अगर हम तैयार नहीं हैं, तो क्या आपको दिखाएंगे?
And you find the breath from there.
Yeah.
The moment you start finding the breath of the character, then the script becomes easier for you. You know how to break it up, you know how to speak, you know where the pauses are. Things start happening because you've found a breath to this, and the breath patterns will differ throughout the scene.
Naturally.
And the breath patterns differ a lot when you're performing even one scene, sitting over there. Even a line or even a monologue has got so many breath patterns. I began to understand that through the physicality of it. There was another one we did, I remember a play, which was by Tom Stoppard. I think it was about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Ross and Gilda dead.
Yeah, Ross and Gilda dead. I was playing Hamlet over there. And when I would perform at the Horniman Circle, I remember I would arrive there early and first do all my Kaleri Paetu exercises. Now, Kaleri Paetu has got nothing to do with Hamlet. But I would do all that and do my yoga asanas before coming in. All in my half pant and my ganji, backstage, back behind. I mean, nobody would watch me doing this. I would do it personally myself, have a bath, get ready, and then get on my stilts, because we did that performance on stilts.
Yeah.
Now, that physicality comes because then you are in control of your physical body and then your character and you. So there's you and your character, you're both conversing together. I found that conversation very interesting because Hamlet down on the floor and Hamlet up on the stilt, there is a connecting point of that, and something happens over there because your space has changed. You're not doing this anymore. Like I would be Hamlet over here on my feet, but I'm on a stilt somewhere else. That physicality was different. Physicality gives way.
What happens when the physicality is very restrained, like in Maitreya? I can understand what you're talking about in Hamlet and all that. I can understand the outward exploration that is required for that. You have to give yourself out. What happens when you have to move in, like in Maitreya?
Maitreya, interesting was reducing of the weight.
So that was your way in.
So that was the way in. I didn't have to find a different physicality for that. So weight reduction, food reduction. And then reading a
Hunger.
lot. Yes, hunger.
Hunger.
Immense hunger. And you have to keep your body intact. So there was a medical issue also because I was 42 years of age when I did that. And the doctor said, don't do this because you shouldn't do this. Don't reduce your weight by 18 kilos at this time. But I did that. But that physicality brought about this, what you're speaking about right now. This restraint, this going inner more and more and more. So the physicality happened automatically because you were training. And that's the only time I went to the gym. I don't go to the gym at all. That's the only time I went there because my muscles had to be toned absolutely to reduce the entire weight. And that helped a lot because your body begins to shrink. If your body is this way, this part of it, because of loss of weight and hunger, it begins to shrink like that.
Yes.
And to keep that up.
And that sense of draining energy.
Yes.
You cannot act it unless you have felt it.
Yes, and you be that then. You become that.
And I mean, there are enough actors in Mumbai who actually have faced hunger. Maybe some of you are sitting here who have done that. But there are equal number of actors in Mumbai who come from well-fed bellies, come with well-fed bellies.
Yes.
वो कहाँ से ढूंढेंगे hunger? है ना? So how do you find something that you don't have easy access to? That's what he's talking about.
Yes.
This is a completely different world, a world of denial of such an extreme sort.
Yes. And I think that's the decision that I took at that time as a performer to go. I had a choice. I didn't have to reduce my weight like that. It was not necessary. But I found physicality in that. And I said, no, I'll take it up because this is going to now pave my way to what I want to do. I don't need to create a separate sense of physicality for the character. And it's amazing. It's really amazing because when your body shrinks like that, there are certain parts of your body, unless you do it, I won't be able to explain this to you. But unless you reduce your weight by 8, please don't do this, okay?
Only if you have to, huh? Do it.
18 kilo, 20 kilo जब आप कम कर देते हैं, and when you're not very well, I was
and
not
when
very
you're
well
not doing it on Monjaro.
Yeah. And that's the time you realize, okay, what is it to sit? What is it to stand? What is it to go to sleep? What is it to wake up? What is it to watch food being eaten right in front of you? What is it to tell yourself that, okay, what are my thoughts turning now into? Am I thinking of anything else but food? Yes, I'm only thinking of food. Because my mind is not going anywhere. Till the character takes over, till the script takes over, and then you say, okay, now there is a path I have. Now there is a philosophy that the character lives for. And you start getting into that. So you are now walking multiple paths. There is the character, there is the philosophy of the character, there is a script, and there is your personal hunger and your weakness that you're going. There's a weakness, immense amount of weakness. You won't be able to get up and walk to a particular distance. So then that comes into your performance. And that's what you find coming in an automatic mode.
In an organic, let's call it organic.
Maybe that's a better word, yes.
Because that's what, in fact, I've wondered about. Okay, you talk about all the elements in their individual capacities, as it were. But the business is so amorphous.
Yes.
And it's so organic.
Yes.
I mean, nobody knows how we discover various things.
Yes.
How ideas come and how we find ways to express them.
Yes.
That's the process of rehearsal helps us there, isn't it?
And even the speech, turned that way for Ship of Theseus. Because then I did not have enough breath to complete a sentence. And I realized that normally now what I do, I take my script, I organize my thoughts, I do so much notes on a script. At that time, I didn't have to. Because the breath patterns were already set in the body. The pauses were already set. The breath was limited. It could not do more than what it was supposed to do.
And you realize how few words are needed for communication.
Exactly, yeah.
कितना बोलते हैं हम लोग?
In fact, that is where I learnt about pauses, Ratna. That's where I've actually worked on pauses. I didn't work on it. I learnt about what it is to stay quiet. And in a film, one can do that. In a play, I guess it must be very difficult to scratch off certain things. I won't say this. You can do that, obviously. You can edit a play. But in films, it becomes even far more easier. Because it's written by somebody who you know probably. Plays are written by great writers. So it's very difficult to edit that kind of a thing.
That's true.
But over here it becomes...
that poor great writer is often dead. So he can't say very much. Whereas,
Yeah.
you know, half-baked
Yeah.
writer today can get very antsy. अरे मेरा कोई शब्द क्यों change किया?
yes. हाँ,
ये भी होता है.
वो भी होता है. लेकिन उस वक्त I was lucky that I could say this to my director, saying that, okay, I don't think I should say this because I'm wasting. I'm just throwing words and the sense is not coming out.
Right.
And you're doing something else with the scene. You're making it verbose and you're trying to show your writing. So we're not meeting anywhere. So I'm acting separately, you're writing separately, you're directing separately. We need to collaborate.
Acha, now a side track. You started doing workshops very, very early. Even before you started working professionally. है ना?
Majbooran.
हाँ मजबूरन सही मगर क्यों और कैसे किस बलबूते पे भाई सॉरी
So these were early workshops with children, luckily. So they were not बच्चों को
उल्लू बना सकते.
So and they were not so much on acting or drama or nothing of that sort. These were basically building their sensibilities and sensitivities because I was living in a society in those years where children would not do things that were organic. They would play with toys that were electronic. They would watch television. They would speak things that were not them. Their minds would work on areas where they should not have been going into that area because that's at that age you don't think and speak about those things. To do that, to sensitize, I used to take these workshops in the colony itself. So there were about 8 or 10 children who began and then went up to 20 and then 30 and everybody started sending the kids. These were weekend workshops. They were only based on music, that means classical music, dance, that means again classical dance, poetry, not so much of poetry, actually painting. And then we would explore nature. We would sit during the rains, we would observe that, take the rains in, go for our nature walks, write something about it, paint it, whatever, physically perform it, whatever. But it was all about that, basically.
Yeah, but your workshops with actors or trainee actors couldn't possibly have been this happy and amorphous.
No. That happened much later.
Okay.
Again, like I said, I had to make a living at that time. So these happened because of that.
Yeah.
The beginnings of those.
Yeah.
So there was auditions and a lot of auditions coming all the way here, exactly where you are right now. This was many years ago. And then to survive, one had to do many, many things. So I was doing, amongst the other things I would do, this was one of them, taking workshops during weekends with the children. And that's the way I myself got introduced to great Western classical music. So we would do many kinds of things in the workshop where they got introduced to sounds.
And did you manage to carry that forward once you started doing workshops with adults and different kinds of adults?
Unfortunately, not in my society. Then I came to Prithvi Theatre where they have summertime workshops.
That's right.
So that branched out into masks. I found that very intriguing. So I would discover things on my own, keep making masks at home, figure out how texts can be introduced through masks, wearing a mask. Puppetry again came into my life. So I began creating those things on my own. So puppetry and masks and speech.
Did you study with somebody? Did you learn?
No. These were all self-taught. I would see it somewhere, maybe a performance at Prithvi. I would go back home and start to create.
And this is all pre-internet days, huh? When you couldn't download a
you could not do
course on how to make puppets.
No. You had to do everything on your own or go to a library,
and
take a book, read or whatever, or take a copy of it, go, and that was the way. And that's how that happened. So Prithvi workshops took over, lots of them during summertime. And then gradually the adult workshop happened. Very, very gradually.
And you have all kinds of people, not just actors, in your workshop.
Yeah.
You have teachers and bankers and you know all kinds of people.
All kinds, yeah.
So
now all kinds.
Yeah. And how does it work for those people who are not professional actors?
So they are told, mostly they are told that this is not for not professional actors, this is meant for actors. But they themselves say that no, we want to come because we believe that they've been told somewhere that when you do theatre or when you perform or whatever, there are other things that you take home. It's not only about acting. So they would come for that mostly. And that's where the crowd comes even today.
And does it make a difference with the way in which the interaction happens with guys who have come in or girls who have come in to become actors? Because they come with a certain kind of mindset.
Yes.
And here's a bunch of people who are taking it somewhat differently. So that interaction, does that help a workshop? Does it trigger something?
So the thing is, when my style of sharing what I know in a workshop is that there is continuous work. We only on the last day we indulge in asking questions or figuring out things. So it's a complete learning process for 11 days. On the 12th day, we sit, and then there are question
So the
answers.
first 11 days is all kinds of activities
All
that you do.
kinds of methodologies and techniques, only
Correct.
purely techniques,
Correct.
which has taken me so many years to create. Now those techniques are put in. So you're only taught techniques at that.
And you are changing, you change those techniques as you go along, as you
No.
make new discoveries?
Now, no. Because now I feel it's come to a level where a lot of changes one has gone through. For so many years I'm doing this now. So starting with children to adults to schools to there was again in Chembur, I think there was Ashok Kumar's academy. So there were small academies here and there where I would go and take a 5-day workshop, 4-day workshop. And from those learnings began all these things.
Right.
So now it doesn't change. It's a steady methodology of training.
That's very interesting. And it is strange because most of us don't have anywhere, one place to go to gather
Yeah.
all one needs to know about
Yes,
acting.
yes.
And there is no such place.
Yes.
If you think that you're going to pay X amount of money, go to Y naam ka aadmi and get, PQR information, ये नहीं होने वाला है.
Yes.
है ना? So the whole process of learning about acting is a lifelong process.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you cook it up like he's doing on his own, and you make many mistakes also along the way. You have to dump a lot of stuff. You have to configure things.
Yeah.
Some people go and learn from another person. But whatever the combination is, your own personal search
Yes.
is the most important.
Yes. So it's mostly, I think, that's what we do when you're sharing something. We even say this during the workshop that we're sharing our life experiences with you. You don't need to follow this. This is not the ultimate. Nothing is the ultimate. Go find your own. I think that's what Stanislavski also says in his first page of An Actor Prepares.
Yes.
Am I right? He says, this is my method. Please do not ape it.
This is not a prescription.
Yes, this is not a prescription.
Exactly.
Yes.
None of them should be prescriptions.
Yes.
It's only a trigger. आगे आप ये खो है. आपको खो मिला अभी आगे सोचो.
But it definitely gives you something to start with, something to sit on, something to mull over, something to begin your journey.
Something to reject.
Maybe.
Also.
Yes.
I love that. When you make a rejection, even that is important. Because that comes from your own understanding.
Yes.
Not because somebody told you.
Yeah.
And that rejection is very valuable. So you are learning how to discern.
Yes.
है ना? Yeah. But आपके वो जो website है, उस पे couple of things which I did not understand, which I want to clarify with you. There's one statement that you make that the transition is from you, the workshop participant, I'm presuming,
The person,
to the actor.
Oh.
That's
Yes.
the person who is being trained, I presume.
Yeah.
To the character,
yes.
and then back again.
Back again.
So it sounds like a bit of a complicated thing, right? So I'd like you to open it out for us.
So there is you as a human being. You've got your own fears. You've got your own inhibitions. You've got your own skills. You've got your own life experience. You have everything that is you. So we tell you that there is something called you, and you don't change that ever in your life. You might be a person who's shy. Stay there. Don't become smart. Be the way you are. Because your organic self needs to remain all the time. From there, you come to the state of a performer, wherein you cannot judge, which means that your personal fears go away. Your personal inhibitions go away. Then you come into the state of the actor, the performer. Your personal egos also go away. Your personal decision-making process goes away. Then you become this absolute neutral person. From here, and only from here, can you step into a character. If you go from your side, you will take your own understanding of life, people, everything. You will put that, and you will, for lack of a word, you will topo that into the character. And that's not the character. That's your understanding of life or the script or whatever. And that is not the character. So you need to be separate, although everything the character does borrows from your life experiences. It borrows only from you. But you need to come out of this, go into this neutral state first. From the neutral, when you go to the character, it's easier for you to approach that because now you don't have ideas about the character nor the script. And your personal egos have to be out, your fears have to be out, and your inhibitions have to be out. Only then you get inside this. Now you start building this. Normally when actors do this, they bring themselves into the character. and they say, I don't agree with this, I agree with this. That kind of a conversation, then you
Now
come
I
out
understand.
of this.
Okay, that's what you're talking about, because I got confused. Because how can I not bring myself? And why should I not bring myself?
Yes.
My experiences are what you have seen in life is what informs Maitreya
Yes.
or,
Any
or
other character.
Mehra or whosoever you've played
Yes,
afterwards.
yes, yes.
Correct? But you cannot reduce your character to match yourself.
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yes,
है ना?
yes,
हाँ.
yes.
कि क्योंकि आप में उस तरह से विचार करने की
Yeah.
हिम्मत नहीं है.
हाँ.
I personally would never be able to murder another person.
Yes.
I'm hoping. but I may have to play a murderer.
Yeah.
In which case, how do I make that leap?
Yes.
That's what you're talking
Exactly
about.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Okay. Now I understand. And then you have to find a way back to yourself.
Yes.
You can't afford to get lost there.
No,
So if
never.
I'm playing mad, I go completely mad.
No, you okay, yeah. That's where you come back to the neutral.
Yes.
A neutral to yourself, and you go home.
Yes.
The character never goes home, the actor never goes home. You go home. And then when you're back, that's why it's called a profession.
And a craft.
And a craft, both.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we call it an art every once in a
Yes,
while,
yes.
but it's more a craft
Yeah.
than an art per se. There are skills that you need.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And they get across to the audience clear as a bell.
Like you have a classical dancer, for example. So when I was in college, I saw this classical dancer. She was a Bharatanatyam dancer. She used to do many shows. But one day I used to see a lot of her shows performing Bharatanatyam. And she was superb in that. The seriousness, the gravitas and what she did, everything was there. And then one day I met her at home. We were invited for lunch over there. Then I see this girl totally yelling, shouting, jumping, dropping on the ground, yelling at somebody over there. Gaaliyan bhi de rahi thi wo. Maine kaha, yehi. I just saw her 3 days ago performing Sita. And she's doing this. But that's where you realize that, okay, she does not get herself into this. She might fall in love with in a different way, but Radha will not fall in love like that.
And she can understand Radha's way of loving as much as she can understand
herself,
her own.
yes.
So, comes to the next question. You talk about no imagination. La haul wala quwwat kaise? How can an actor function without imagination?
No.
And worse still, you say
Three things.
Imagination, improvisation. Improvisation, I agree with you.
What's the third one? I forgot myself.
And response. Reaction nahi chahiye, response chahiye.
No imagination,
Samjhao bhai.
no imagination, no reaction, and no improvisation. These are three things. These are three things I took out when I was learning and doing small workshops, not 2-day, 3-day workshops, where I was told that you need to improvise, you need to imagine, you need to react to what the actor is doing. And I was trying those things, and I would see these performances, and at times I would feel, no, this is not working for me personally. I'm not able to do this at all. And many years later, I realized that what if I take these three things out? If I take out imagination, if I take out improvisation, and if I take out, what's the third one?
Imagination, improvisation, and reaction.
Reaction.
So
if I take them out, raha kya? When you take them out, then what do you have? And I just stood there, I sat there saying, nothing actually. So what do I do? And that was the beginning of the discovery of the methodologies that I wanted to create for myself. That's where I said that, okay, I have real life experiences. Let's try that. I have responses. I'm not going to react to you. I will respond to you. For example, when I saw Gandhi, and when I saw the British officer hitting Gandhi, the real Gandhi film, I don't know how many of you have seen that. Richard Attenborough's Gandhi. When I saw that...
Hardly the real Gandhi. It's a film. Sorry, Bichar. See how that film has taken over our sensibilities. We think that is Gandhi.
Yeah. So wahan maine dekha ki when the British officer was hitting Gandhi, Gandhi never did anything. So I thought, why is he not reacting? Why doesn't he give him some galis in Gujarati and pull that baton down and kick this man? And then I realized, no, the character is not supposed to do that. He can't react to that. He needs to respond. How do you respond? Because there is a philosophy that he is following. He believes in Satyagraha and he believes in Ahimsa. That is what guides him to do whatever he is doing. That's the actions that Gandhi takes over. So even if he wants to, the real Gandhi, the real person wants to do something else, he will not do that. And that's the time I found myself saying that this looks slightly interesting to me. What if I don't react and I only respond? What happens then when I'm performing on something?
Which means that in a situation of response, you are actually hearing what the other person is saying as if for the first time.
Yes.
And reacting, thus responding, thus,
Yeah.
because you are actually present.
Yes.
Which is what we don't do as actors
Yes.
when we are performing. Oftentimes, we absent ourselves and then just go by what we have tried before.
Yes.
Which I call tricks, frankly.
Yes, yes.
And
For example, there was another play I saw, just the rehearsals of it, Romeo Juliet. And I remember this play was going on, and it was a bad play. I saw the play as well. I saw the rehearsals, by the way. And the director was there. I didn't know him much at that time. He was directing this play. And we have Romeo and Juliet. They're doing the rehearsals. And there are scenes where they are together. It's a beautiful romantic scene. And Romeo tells or asks the director while rehearsing that, sir, you know, this is very romantic. So if you don't mind, like I feel like, that's the word he used, okay? I feel like going close to her when I do this. So the director was actually smoking a cigarette. He said, you feel like it? Go. So he went closer to her. Thereafter, there was another line that he had to say. He says, sir. He said, yeah, now what? Here, I'd like to actually hold her very close to myself. And I had to say the next line. The same thing. You feel like it? Go, do it. So he went closer to her and she began feeling awkward because he was holding her too tight. And then the last time when he was closing that entire scene with her, he says at this time I should close with a rock solid kiss. Can I do this? So director says, you feel that? He says, I feel like doing it. So he says, go do it. And obviously the girl didn't allow that to happen and they couldn't do much beyond that. That's where I felt that it's all about his personal feelings and he's simply
transferring them.
And what he was doing was because Juliet was being romantic, he thought I must react to this. Now that she's being romantic, now that she's smiling, looking at me in the eyes, let me react to this. That means I can go. He understood reaction in that way.
Interesting, because here you are talking about people reacting, responding to each other within the context of a scene.
Yes.
So all these ideas about response, this thing, that thing, when looked at in isolation, become pointless.
Yes, yes.
But when connected to a scene, suddenly they acquire meaning. I think imagination also acquires a great deal of meaning.
It must be absolutely there.
But what I wanted to ask you is also, as part of your process with the workshopping that you do, you also talk about very tangible skills. Reading of the script, for example. I think that's a very important area for an actor.
Yeah.
And something that we can train ourselves to do with more insight and subtlety.
Yes.
So tell us how you go about it with your...
with my scripts?
Yes.
So when I take my script, I first like to read it without even understanding what I'm reading. That's my first process. I read the whole thing at least about twice to get to know mota moti what this is all about. And then I begin to simply start to organize the thought process for the character I'm playing. So wherever my scenes are there, I begin to put those little slashes over there just to understand what is the thought process of my character, how is he going. Thereafter, the memorizing and all that begins much later. But the first process is only doing this. When I do this, I pick up a lot of things from the script. There are pointers over there.
The reading of the script is very, very significant.
Extremely significant.
So you do a lot of the reading of the script.
Yes, yes. But first, like I said, the physicality takes over first. Whenever I do anything, even in film or in theatre, first is the physical transformation of what this character is supposed to be. Okay. Physical, not transformation, exploration.
Correct.
I get to get this understanding and then I begin to do that every single day. So if I'm playing let's say, in a film, Byomkesh Bakshi.
Yes.
If I'm playing Dr. Guha, then my day begins with the physical training of this character. Dr. Guha doesn't do this. The character doesn't do this. But for me to train in that way is very, very important. So there are lot of methodologies you take from yoga, you take from martial arts. You combine a lot of things, classical dance, you combine a lot of things and you put a methodology of physical training every single morning before I do the film or go for shoot.
Right. So it prepares your body to go in any direction required.
As per the character, but it goes into any direction.
Correct.
Then when I read the script, then I know what it means now to deliver that. That is why the reading becomes important. The thought process in a script is very, very crucial. It's not about memorizing a script. It's trying to understand how the script is moving from thought to thought to thought to thought to
Yes.
thought.
And the memorizing of the script becomes so easy, no?
Yes, yes.
You hardly have to spend any
Yes,
time.
yes.
If you get the thought right,
Yeah.
फिर शब्द याद करने में क्या दिक्कत है?
Yes.
वो तो फट से हो जाते हैं.
In fact, a sentence itself has multiple thoughts.
Yes.
Just one sentence will have about 2 or 3 thoughts.
बिल्कुल.
But you need to first get, that's the reading of a script. That's why you enjoy reading a script.
Yes.
Because you're searching for these little clues over there.
You
There are
said you
words.
enjoy reading of a script. There's your special notice to be made. He enjoys it. Sorry.
So when you do that, you discover there are certain words that have locked feelings, locked meanings. You discover that as well when you're reading.
But does sometimes a script give you a wrong clue? And then you have to correct it as you go along when you start working on it?
As of now, I have not dared to challenge a script like that. Unless it's written, not a play script, definitely. Or a play, not a play script, not a play. But if I'm doing a film, then yes, I challenge. Because there are live writers sitting in front of me.
Correct.
Then we can do that. We can ask him.
But I tell you, it has happened to me. Dear Liar, we did it ages ago. And when we first did it, the way I did it was completely wrong. And everyone praised me at that time also. क्योंकि बहुत पटर 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 बहुत कुछ बोल गई मैं in the play. So, and I also accepted it as fine. It took me ages to realize कि साला I'm completely off. So what I'm saying is that business of discovering a completely wrong track which needed to be corrected after many, many shows. Suddenly the penny dropped and I, oh my God, where were we? This is wrong. So, change of direction. So, I've had that experience and it's equally satisfying because कुछ नया ही मिला उसमें से. It was fantastic to realize that a mistake can be so productive and useful. So, please make mistakes. Better than not doing anything. Just make mistakes.
But that's very intriguing. That's lovely. To find that you're doing show after show after show after show, and then suddenly you realize that no, this was the wrong trajectory, it was something else.
Yes. And you can course correct if it's a play.
Yes.
If it's a film, the damn thing is
it's already recorded.
Gone forever. It's going to stand against you 200 years later.
Yes.
But how far ahead of the shoot do you start planning your performance?
Whenever I get the script, so we demand the script much in advance. And when it comes, this is the process back again.
So you definitely start working on a script as soon as you get it.
Yes. In fact, we demand it to be given to us as early as possible. Like we really be after that.
Yeah. And you start moving it for yourself.
Yes.
Regardless of whether the director has told you anything or not, you start working. What happens then if the director has a different opinion than yours?
I think till date, except for one, we've never had those. I was lucky actually. I worked with people who allowed me to do what I want to do. I've just been very lucky throughout. And there have been areas where we've worked together. We've taken the script from somewhere where it was to another level of work.
Correct.
Simply because we were collaborating and working. And not working separately as actor-director.
Yes. Or against, which is worse.
Or against, yeah.
वो भी कभी-कभी हो जाता है. I know.
वो खासकर कभी-कभी when the directors are very senior people, you have to be very careful because some of them are very old.
Yeah.
And you suddenly can't go with a new idea or say that, okay, can we do something with this line? They don't like that. So you have to find your way out over there. That finding your way is also very interesting. It's a process.
Yes.
Making
your relationship with the actors that you're working with, who may be on a completely different page from you.
Absolutely, yes.
What happens there? Do you have trouble adjusting to actors who think very differently, come at the role very differently?
So here are two things I do. When I'm working with people who I know that, even if they're coming from different schools of work, the thought process can be different, but the work collectively has to collaborate somewhere. It cannot be separate.
Yeah.
Then I've been having people who come from nowhere actually. They just come and do the same thing they've been doing all along and they disturb, I'm using this word, they disturb your performance when you're doing something. Why do they disturb? Because when you're doing something on shoot and when you're being recorded, they do certain things or they resist what you're doing. And that is disturbing because they cut the shot, they go and tell the director that, is it possible that I do it this way? And could I ask him also to do it this way so that we can be on the same page? I don't understand that at all. The same page business then becomes something else. And the director sometimes also comes and tells you that if you don't mind, he's unable to catch up with what is happening. Just do it the way he's doing it. Why? Because probably he's done much more work or films or whatever. And so you have to collaborate in that way. And that is, I've been lucky not to do that.
You don't
very,
have.
very lucky. Maybe, like I said,
How much television have you done?
Television, एक ही किया मैंने.
अगर वो करना पड़ता तो
I know.
आपको ये सब करना पड़ता.
Maybe, yeah.
You wouldn't have had an
Maybe,
option.
yeah.
Yes.
I was there.
You've been lucky.
I've been lucky, yeah.
कम काम किया है मगर अच्छा किया है. Okay, so you also keep saying that I don't want to follow anyone else's way of working.
What that means essentially is that I don't want to follow a person saying that this is the way, like somebody says that you need to react, you need to respond. I mean, improvise. That's a way of doing something. Somebody says, okay, when you come on set, you just tell me the lines. That's it. Don't do anything with it. So that's a way that I'm being told how to do that film, how to do that performance. That's something I might have said that, okay, I don't like to, and that's what I mean actually even now. Follow a particular methodology of working. I personally don't enjoy that.
So you're talking about directors also.
Mostly that. Mostly
you are
that.
talking about
Yes,
that.
mostly
that. It's not as if I don't want to do Stanislavski or Mayakovsky those kind of divisions.
Not like that.
Not
because
like that.
each one of them is a master of the
and they've
work.
all got things that make sense to us, no?
Absolutely, yes.
How can you reject one?
Absolutely,
so,
yes.
what you are saying really is you don't want to be straitjacketed
Yes.
by somebody
Yes.
somebody else's vision.
Yes.
But if it's the director, you have to be, no, finally.
You have to be, but then again, you have to find, like I said, it's a collaboration. There are many moments, there are many times that I've seen his work, and then I go and discuss with him that, okay, this has been the way you've been doing your work.
Yeah.
Could we do it this way? Because this is the way I would approach the character.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was fortunate. I've been allowed that.
Yes.
And I could do
And
it.
frankly, if you do it correctly, then the director would be a fool to say no.
Yes,
Hai na?
yes.
When we sit down and discuss with the director, that's when the director has 20 things to say.
Yes.
Karke dikha do.
I would just like to say this at this point, Ratna. This is when it's happened once with me. And I found that amazing. And I wish that moment comes to people who perform and to you people. I was doing a film with somebody, I won't name anybody, and I was doing a second film with the same director. And when we were performing this, so it was going very well for the first 3 days. There was a moment, I think on the 5th or the 6th day, when he comes and tells me that, okay, this is the scene, Neeraj. This is you, that's her, 3 of you there in the scene. I said, so yeah, tell me, let's talk about this. What do we do? What is this thing supposed to be? So normally we sit down together always, right? People talk about the scene, the director tells you what's to be done, then you get out and then you do your own work. He comes out of that place, he says, no, we're not going to sit today. You direct it. It was so beautiful. And he said, what? But okay, I've got to take charge immediately. So you direct it doesn't mean that you go behind the camera and direct it. You lead it.
You lead
You lead this performance. And they'll follow suit.
Yes.
And that was beautiful.
Yes.
That's the time they have that
And you
faith.
can do this kind of thing only if you are really prepared.
Yes, absolute
If you have
preparation.
imagined and improvised on your own and responded to everything in the script. But you say you
I
put...
like this.
We have to catch him, na? But you say you put enormous pressure on yourself. Why?
Do I?
That's what you said.
What was that you said? I'm
yes,
so sorry.
that you put enormous pressure on yourself. So what does that do to you?
Maybe when I say pressure means on set, I don't socialize.
Yes, I think that's what was part of the conversation.
So I am alone when I'm on set. I'm very boring on set. I'm somewhere alone. Inside my van mostly, I don't come out. And if I come out, even if I do the scene, and if there's a second take, third take, then I quietly go in a corner, sit on a chair and just keep sitting quietly. And I'm doing my own things at that time. Anybody comes to me asking, "Aap kuch loge?" I just do this. That's about it. If an actor comes to me and sits with a chair and says, "Hi, Neeraj," so I feel very embarrassed. I don't know what to do then.
Apparently, Pran Saab used to do this. And many actors of his generation, they never went off set. They sat there all day.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting sense of discipline that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But maybe that's your way into stillness and silence. I've seen that in a lot of your performances. And you seem to have used stillness very effectively. Now, do you, one, how did you discover it? But more important to me, do you feel that it becomes a sort of a trick that you use also? How do you prevent it from becoming a trick? Because all of us have discovered कि ये मैं अच्छा करती हूँ, वो मैं अच्छा करती हूँ. तो कैसे ये trick रोकना अपने आप को?
So do not indulge in using tricks. One thing is there. Secondly, when I'm doing this, when I'm quiet, what I'm doing is I'm again searching and finding and searching and finding, because a second take given to me or a third take given to me, I want to take advantage of that. I want to do something much, much, much beyond what I could ever think about.
Correct.
So that keeps me very engaged in the entire process. It's very tiring because on a set there are so many things happening, so much of loud yelling, shouting, running around, repairing things here, there, whatever. But you need to be quiet in that chaos. I think that's where you find your meditative state of being just the character and you.
Yeah.
And nothing disturbs you, nothing can shake you.
Yeah.
You're unshakable.
Yeah.
And if you can reach that state, it's very wonderful because you can stay absolutely rooted to what you're doing. And that's the time discovery happens, when you're still. Then when you said, okay, shot is ready, then you know there are new things you've already discovered over here. You put that into the shot.
And there is stillness in the performance.
Inside, yes.
That's another kind of stillness. Here is stillness of preparation, then there is stillness in performance.
Yeah.
And most actors, at least so far that I've noticed, do not really recognize the value of stillness.
Yes.
Particularly on camera.
You know, I'd like to add one more thing over here. When you say stillness, I feel I always describe that as an x-axis and y-axis concentration. That means at the moment of performance, I'm observing what is happening inside me. I'm also observing what is happening outside of me. What the other actor is doing, what is happening in the scene, the awareness is there.
Correct.
The awareness is also within myself. And that's where it becomes a jugalbandi that you're doing with a performer in that scene. Because when there is no jugalbandi, then it's static.
Yeah.
Then there's nothing happening. You're only throwing away what you know, and the other person throws away what they know. And you simply have to edit that and put it together by the director. And
Yes.
that's
Things
a boring
don't
way
trigger
they
in
don't
such a
trigger.
situation.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You just go through the motions.
Exactly, yeah.
But when we want something to emerge, then you have to approach it in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. And there was a scene, can I say this?
Yeah,
There was a
yeah,
scene when I did with another, in Sacred Games, where we did a sequence where I had to deal with a character, and I was playing the cop, and I had to deal with Nawazuddin over there. There was a scene that was happening. We took the first and the second take, and we wrapped it up because I was told by the director, Neeraj Kabi, that this is done. We got it. It's fantastic. I went back to the van, and I thought of something, triggered off, because when I remove my costumes, every day I do this, whenever I go there, when I remove my costume, that's the time I feel, oh hell, this could have been done in such a different way. At that time when it happened, I actually went to Anurag's van, which was close to mine, and I told him, can we do the same thing tomorrow again? With a different sensibility, with different objects, with different things altogether. And it was done. The next day, the same shot was done. The set was there. We took out many more things. There were cricket bats made on that day because I got that idea from the book that was Sacred Games is a book actually.
I know. Yeah.
And so from that book, the character is fond of cricket and sports. And he takes his own profession very lightly. Not in the way lightly, he's a serious cop, but he takes it, he plays with it. And that word stuck to me. And that's the time the entire sequence was then done with a cricket bat. And the whole thing changed, the whole meaning of it changed.
And you were lucky to find a director who
Yes,
was willing
and an
to
actor who was willing to come again.
and
Nawaz
do the
came
same
again
thing.
the same day, did the same
very
shot
nice,
again.
Very nice.
Now, like I said, I've been lucky. They've been
Yes.
kind people who said yes to this.
So how much do you critique your own work?
A lot.
And do you have people around you who can tell you where you're going right and wrong?
You know, sometimes, I don't know why, it's not ego and not to be misunderstood. I don't allow that. Because I feel that unless I know the work of the person who's telling me what I should do, I don't allow that to come from anywhere else. Because then it's just an intuitive, I don't know what to call it. Somebody just comes and says, you know, I like this or I don't like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
That's
But if it's coming from somebody who has an experience,
Yes.
who's done a lot of work,
Yes.
then yes,
Yes.
I make a note of that instantly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
Your wife, for example, who's watched everything you've done, or your
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
I mean, kids give such
Yes,
incredible,
yes,
insightful
yes.
things,
Oh,
nahi?
it's dangerous. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you find that this process of self-critique is useful,
Very useful.
and you don't shy away from it.
Not at all. Like I just said, I enter the van and it starts over there.
Wonderful.
I tell myself, क्या कर रहा है यार? ये कुछ और हो सकता था. What did you do just
Do
now?
you overdo it also? Because that is another risk. कि अपने आप को constantly flagellate करते रहो, अरे I could have done better.
नहीं, हर बार नहीं होता ये. But there are moments where I feel that it was very interesting. I had great performers with me. So much could have been done because I know there could have been this jugalbandi between us and I didn't use it. I lost it out. Because when I have people who I know I cannot collaborate with, let's say actors who have not done that kind of work or much work, then it's okay with me because I know कि इसके ज़्यादा कुछ करूँगा, something else will come out of it. It's better to leave it as it is. But when I know there is process happening and one can do that, then you'd like to go back and do
Actually.
it. Yeah.
And that's why theatre is such fun.
Yes.
You keep going back,
Yes.
show after show, you discover
Yes,
new things.
yes.
है ना? बहुत मजे का. You have described yourself in a very boring way. That you have no hobbies, that you only work on improving yourself, that you keep trying to keep your...
Shivani.
मतलब तौबा, आप इतना seriously लेते हो अपने आप को?
No.
What gives you pleasure? आपकी बेटी को पूछना चाहिए किसी दिन.
No, there are many things actually. It's not like that. It's what I mean by saying all this, if you've ever said this. But what I mean is that I don't have hobbies in the sense I don't take out time to... If I'm doing something, if I'm learning something, then it is being learned for the craft. It is being learned for what I'm doing. It's like that. So even if I'm, let's say, playing tennis, then I'm playing tennis, but at the same time, I'm lost in the way I'm moving. I'm lost in the way I'm winning, losing, etc. It does not limit itself to tennis. In that way, yes, I can be very boring because instead of focusing on the game, I'm focusing on how this can be used as a performer.
Yeah.
So what's happening to these sensibility, these sensations as I play tennis? Or if I'm playing cricket? Or if I'm playing
Do you feel that is a loss? Does your family feel that you're a big bore to deal with?
What are you hinting at?
वो बाद में बात करेंगे.
No, I don't think. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe I'm nobody. You got to ask them.
I
They really
shall.
find
Next time.
But I don't get my work so much into at home.
You don't carry it home.
Not so much. Not so much, because then that becomes another kind of a thing altogether.
And it becomes counterproductive after a while,
Yes,
na?
yes. And we have a little puppy dog who takes away everything.
Yes.
So she comes running.
Thank God for animals. So, if you were starting again in Mumbai, what would be your first 90 days plan as an actor? Can anyone make such a plan?
No, you can't actually. Because when you land up here, it's a jungle. And you have to find your way. Finding your way is very crucial. First of all, you should know that you have landed in a jungle. It's very important. When I mean jungle, it means that you have to first gather your strength and put yourself together first. You can't give up. That's the first thing. You must tell yourself that if I've come into this jungle, I have to find my way. Nobody is going to hold your hand and show this to you. The beginning is that.
Absolutely.
So your own mental, emotional, physical preparations have to be very, very strong. Emotionally, you have to be extremely strong to tell yourself that, okay, every single day I will be there trying to make something of myself if I want to be an actor. Okay, that's one. Secondly, there are other issues with your mind. You have to control that and be strong over there as well. For example, if you go for auditions, there are many things you'll be told at your very first audition, your third audition, fifth audition, maybe your 100th audition, you will still be fired at. And you will begin to feel that I'm not good enough. I think I should go. No, you cannot. You've come here. You've entered the jungle. You better stick around and you better become the lion before you go.
Okay.
Too much, na?
But I do feel this is a very over dramatic way of putting it. But frankly, it is the only way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
It is a really difficult decision. You want to be an actor? सर पे कफन बांधा है आपने, तो अब निकल पड़ो. It's literally like that. I'm afraid.
And I think, if you are open for that and you tell yourself, okay, I have to survive and I won't leave till this is done, you will find your ways of how to learn, where to train yourself, how much to eat, how to survive. Everything will happen. But if you start with a sense saying that, okay, it's been 6 months, I've done nothing, I better go back, then then you better go back then. Then you can't do anything.
Yeah.
But if you survive there, things will happen. Your training is important. Your learning is important as much as auditioning, as much as getting work. Getting work is not the only thing you will do in your 90-day plan. You have to also train yourself as a performer. Find your ways, how to train yourself, how to make a living. Everything is part of the 90-day plan. I like this 90-day plan.
और 90-day प्लान मत रखना, 999 डेज का प्लान मिनिमम लेवल पे वहां स्टार्ट करना प्लीज.